Crime in the Black population in Chicago. A data-driven overview was created by me. Understanding concentrated crime, demographics, and real solutions. Data sources, chicago.gov, Illinois Policy, University of Chicago Crime Lab, U.S. Census Bureau, and Data USA. Purpose is to analyze Chicago crime trends through the lens of the Black community, focusing on demographic reality, local concentration, and national perspective. We're going to use the latest available data, compare local numbers to the national Black male population, identify neighborhoods with the highest crime rates, and propose realistic data-informed solutions. And this is just a table of contents that we're going to go over. The total Chicago population as of 2024 is 2.7 million plus. The Black population, we represent 757,000. That is 28% of the total. The key takeaway is Chicago remains a major Black population center despite migration. 2023, Chicago saw 621 homicides. And then in 2024, it was 581. So that is down 7.3%. Non-fatal shootings, down 3.7% from the previous year. Black residents, 79% of homicide or shooting victims in 2020 were Black. In 2023 to 2024, Black Chicagoans were 20 to 22 times more likely to be deleted than whites. I put this stuff in here for a reason. This is not me dismissing that there is an issue with these deletions in Chicago. However, you need context. And then 84% of homicide victims are male. Where my Chicago folks at? I did this quick table breakdown of where the high crime, predominantly Black neighborhoods are. And this is from 2024. So let's take a look at Englewood. The population of Black folks is 92%. They saw 20 homicides in 2024, and that is a rate of 93.6 per 100,000. And Englewood is historically one of the most violent areas. All right. Greater Grand Crossing, 95% Black, 36 homicides. And then that is the highest homicide rate in Chicago. Greater Grand Crossing. And then West Garfield Park, 92% Black, among the most dangerous communities. Wow. Austin, 85%, largest Black neighborhood by population. And then Chatham, I may be saying that wrong. My apologies. 97% Black, middle income Black neighborhood with high violence. That's the one that actually stuck out to me because they saw 24 homicides, but compare that to Englewood, who saw 20. And Englewood is considered one of the historically most violent areas, but this is actually middle income. That shocked me. Wow. Okay. And then we have Washington Park, 93% Black, ranked number one most dangerous in media list, and that was out of I think 5 that I referenced. And but I couldn't find the information on the deletions, but they said it's ranked number one most dangerous. And in Roseland, 96%, same thing, longstanding gang and gun violence issues. I had to break it down because people were complaining that I used the whole Black male population. Now, Black men ages 18 to 34, which seems to be the hot spot for where, the offenders are. So I put it in this perspective for you guys. Black men ages 18 to 34 in Chicago. The total Black population, as I stated, 757,000. But within that age group, that's 20 to 25%, 150 to 190 individuals, 50% male, 70,000 to 95,000 Black men aged 18 to 34 in the city of Chicago. These men represent just 0.3 to 0.4% of all Black men in the United States. 23.2 million total. All right. So that's why you need context in these conversations. When people say that Black people as a whole Black men as a whole have a problem. It's not true. It is a small contingent of black men, black women, smaller percentage of black women, smaller percentage of black children. Small. Interpretation. Even though violence disproportionately affects certain Chicago neighborhoods, the majority of black men nationwide and even within Chicago are law-abiding, working, and raising families. Conclusion, while Chicago's homicide rate is tragic, its impact on total black men in America is statistically small. Crime is locally concentrated, not culturally represented. It's not a cultural thing. And this is where Chicago ranks nationally. If anybody are from any of these cities, let me know. Highest crime ridden U.S. cities. And this is according to 2025 FBI stats, Statista, and the council data. Memphis, Tennessee, number 1, highest per capita violent crime rates. Anybody from Memphis? Be safe. Detroit, Michigan, number 2, historically top ranked for violent crime. And Detroit may be my next highlighted city that I do, because when people talk about Detroit, they say all of Michigan as well, just like they do Chicago and Illinois. Baltimore, I love Baltimore, but I know it is a problem out there. So number 3, high homicide rates, predominantly black areas. Number 4, St. Louis, Missouri, consistently top 3 in homicide rate. New Orleans, Louisiana, repeatedly among highest murder rates. Cleveland, Ohio, elevated homicide rate in black communities. Chicago ranks 7th. Raw numbers, but lower per capita than top 5. 8, Birmingham, Alabama. That was actually shocking to me. I didn't know that Birmingham was was on this list. Smaller city, high black population homicide rates. Chicago often ranks number 1 in total homicides, but not in per capita deletion rate. The concentration occurs mainly within 8 to 10 neighborhoods out of Chicago's 77 community areas. That is a key point. In 8 to 10 areas. So 77 community areas. So that kind of puts things into perspective. All the crime is locally, centralized in those 8 to 10 neighborhoods that we discussed in the table. So it's not Chicago as a whole. It's not Illinois as a whole. All states have violence, crime, all that stuff. But 8 to 10 areas predominantly in the city of Chicago. Okay. Here are the root causes. It's economic disinvestment, loss of jobs, redlining, and that's still carrying over from the 1960s and 70s, and deindustrialization. Chicago used to be a booming factory worker type city. Detroit, Michigan used to be one of those types of cities, but a lot of those plants, they closed down. The broken family and community structures, weak male mentorship and generational trauma, educational inequity. We just covered this in one of my videos. Underfunded schools and limited access to quality education. Housing segregation, systemic concentration of poverty. Discussed that. Limited economic mobility. These are barriers to employment and entrepreneurship. Social isolation and distrust of institutions. Chicago. Let me say this. My God, I don't think y'all really trust your political people in power. I'll say that much. I've listened to a couple of town meetings. I don't think y'all like the politicians in Chicago that much. Y'all can let me know. But when I was watching those town meetings on YouTube, they had some problems with the politicians out there. Cycles of retaliation, neighborhood feuds escalating without conflict mediation. And this is the gangs that we were discussing. And here are some realistic solutions, and it's just from me, okay? So I kind of brainstormed these based off of the issues that I've seen in other cities and states. So economic and employment solutions, we can expand trade and skill programs. We always discuss this on these shows, and specifically in the South and the West Side schools. Yeah, South and West Side. Make sense? Okay. Tax credits for Black-owned businesses, hiring locally. We need that money to start more businesses. Micro grants for young entrepreneurs in high crime areas. create youth mentorship and fatherhood programs, and then partnered churches, nonprofits, and local leaders to mediate conflicts. Public safety reform, strengthen community policing and hotspot patrols, build police community trust, and I think the police department is working towards that. That was one of the initiatives from your Chicago Police Department Superintendent, Larry Snell. And transparency and accountability. That comes with that report, which is a good thing for Chicago. And then address illegal firearm access and trafficking. Education and family, early childhood programs and after school safe spaces, parenting support and family stability initiatives, reentry program for formerly incarcerated men. Now, in regards to the parenting support, I always talk about this for the younger Black women and Black, young adults who don't have children yet. I would like to see more initiatives on educating those young women on birth control, protecting themselves from unwanted pregnancies. All this type of stuff needs to be in place. And I would go as far as to say in those South and West Side areas, put that in the school as like a part of some type of curriculum when you're learning health or something like that. This should be an offshoot of educating those young women on, protecting themselves from unwanted pregnancy, and not just to leave out the young men out there as well. Same thing, but the ultimate decision are on the young Black women. So I would love to see some type of program. We have STI outreach programs in Chicago, in the state of Illinois. Your public health department is doing amazing, things out there, but I think it needs to be more concentrated in the South and the West Side, because there is a higher probability of children out of wedlock in those particular areas, specifically for young Black women under the age of 24. So those outreach programs could definitely help. And then, like I said, public health and environment, clean, lighted, and maintained neighborhoods. Treat violence as a public health issue, not just a law enforcement problem. And then trauma counseling for victims, youth, and families. The trauma counseling is definitely important because a lot of Chicago, individuals who live in the West and the South Side, I don't like the fact that deletion has become a normal thing. I've seen some of the gang, videos where they just kind of walk past it like nothing happened, or the family is just, are people outside watching this stuff happen, and it's a lot going on. This happens, in certain a small percentage of Black neighborhoods. I don't want that to be commonplace. Some of the stuff that y'all see, if you live in those areas, you shouldn't be seeing. You guys as civilians, you shouldn't have to go through that. And y'all know that I've been in counseling. I was in counseling for 5 years until I was actually discharged, because I had seen some stuff that I probably wasn't supposed to see, but for the sake of my job, had to. But y'all know. So that's why I'm like, yeah, trauma counseling it would help, in my opinion. All right. I know a lot of y'all don't believe in counseling, but I do. I think it would help. And the key takeaway, most Black men are not criminals. They are working, providing, and raising families. Crime is a symptom of concentrated poverty, not race. So did any of this sound like I was dismissing the problems of the Black community? Any of it? I think I was able to put things into perspective to hopefully it makes sense to people who are always trying to say that you're trying to dismiss it. No, man. We just got to put things in the proper context. All right?